Hello, welcome back to my tiny little garden. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Alex, and I'm so happy to see you here. Today's video is definitely going to be a jumble of a bunch of different things because a jumble of a bunch of different things is what I have to do today. I think I would like to do an easy task first so that I can just feel like something got done. And the easiest task I think that I have to do is harvest some kale for me to use. So I'm going to set up the camera and we're going to harvest some kale first. I got new pruners recently, and I've only used them a few times, so here's to it. Oh no. It's already a bad start, isn't it? That's no good. Little caterpillar. I took a picture of a bird eating one of these little caterpillars the other day, but this one's gonna be smushed. So sorry, little guy. One day maybe I'll have some chickens that I could then collect the caterpillars and feed it to them, but I don't right now. So I will just collect them and smush them, sadly. This also seemed like a good job to do first because I also need to trellis these cucumbers that are with the kale, and I thought it would probably be easier to work around the kale if it wasn't so fluffy. That's one plant. You'll probably notice that I'm picking off quite a few caterpillars from these, but that is to be expected because I don't spray with pesticides or anything like that. I do this as organically as I can and hope that the good bugs will help me kill the bad bugs, as well as I just hand pluck the bad bugs off. And that's just something that I deal with so that I don't have to as heavily wash my plants or worry about eating, chemicals that nobody wants. This one actually looks really good. That plant had a lot more bugs on it. Oh, and I missed one. Yeah, what the heck? Let's take a couple more. I'll freeze it because this is definitely more than I'm going to use in one soup. Soup is primarily what I make with kale, to be honest. When it's fresh kale from my garden, I will eat it in like a salad fresh. I just crunch it up, rough it up a little bit. But if it's bought from the store, I don't typically like it in a salad because it's usually much more bitter if you buy it from the store and it needs all of the seasoning from a soup. The soup is just my favorite thing that I personally know how to cook with it in it, so that's why. Bunch more kale. Literal another bunch. I think I also have to get rid of a few of these broccoli leaves because, one, they're edible. I can just use them just like the kale, mix them in, and nobody will notice. But two, I have cucumbers under here, and they are getting pretty blocked by these leaves, blocked out from the sun by these leaves, which just makes them grow very slow, which I don't want. Another bunch of kale. I think that's all of my kale plants, which is good because I'm already definitely going to have to freeze some of this. I recently noticed some volunteer sunflowers in the yard. You can see one right there. And they're still going good, obviously. I have watered them once. And there's also a cucumber. I think it's a cucumber or something, a squash maybe. It's doing good too. I'm going to put rocks around them so that when we mow, we know that they're there and that I want to keep them. And then I'll just hand trim the grass that grows up around them and it'll be fine. Here is what I believe to be a cucumber. I really do think it's a cucumber with what shape the leaves are. Then, not too far away, just right over there, a couple feet from where I put my green stalk. There's sunflowers, 1, 2, and 3. Ooh, this one's really strong. But yeah, just growing themselves out of the ground like the cuties that they are. So those are definitely staying. I harvested the kale first because I needed it out of the way for me to be able to trellis these cucumbers. And the way that I'm going to trellis these cucumbers is by tying a string, shouldn't point with a knife, is by tying a string up to the top board of the trellis and running it down and wrapping it around the cucumbers and letting them hold on with their tendrils to the strings. Just like I did these tomatoes back here. If you can see the strings, I'm not sure. So usually I use jute twine, but this is not jute twine. This is, I don't know, some kind of random string that I have found somewhere and I'm using because I ran out of jute twine, and these really need trellised because I'm going on a trip soon. So I'm doing what I can with what I currently have. So let's get these cucumbers trellised up. That jumped further than I expected. Jeez. So I'm just going to take this and choose the cucumber furthest that direction, which is technically going to be this one. And I just hold it and wrap the string around. It is almost 5 p.m. right now, and I really wanted to get out here early / this morning, but that did not happen. So I'm using the time that I do have, even though it is, I think, 86 degrees outside, which maybe isn't that warm, but it is very humid where I live, so it feels sticky. There is 1 cucumber. I'm gonna have three in this container. Planted them so close together. It's my bad. Oops. Well, they'll give me cucumbers or they won't. So the idea of this trellis system that I'm using is that as they get taller, I can just slowly wrap the newest part of the stem around the string, and eventually when it gets up to the top, it'll just drape over and can grow back down and just keep producing me cucumbers for as long as possible. Chances are, before it gets all the way back down, it'll be struck by blight and disease because, like I said, it is humid. Usually while I'm doing this is also a good time to prune off suckers, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So suckers grow in between a main leaf and the main stem and produce a secondary main stem. What I'm doing by pruning it off is telling the cucumber, no, don't produce more fruit-bearing stems. Keep pushing your main stem upward because that's where I want you to grow. So this is how they'll come off. Just looks like another stem. And you just clip it off and throw it in your compost pile. way more busy than it usually is. For some reason, the last, I don't know, year and a half has been just a lot more travel than I usually do, and a lot more plans than I usually have. I usually just stay at home. This week specifically, there's just, the garden needs so much, and my house needs so much, and my new house needs so much, and I'm going on a trip in just a few days, well, like a week or so, and I need to pack for that and rent a car and work out routes of where I'm traveling to, and it's just a lot of like tedious work. So I am probably not talking as much as I usually would in the videos. I'm just kind of trying to relax in the garden and have a good time and take you along with me and give you a little update of what's going on and show you the tedious, piddly here and there chores that I have to do in the garden, because none of them are big enough chores that they need their own video for explanation. It's just a bunch of tiny things that I have to get done. In fact, Lovebug offered to help me in the garden, and I was like, honestly, I don't think you can. It's just like a couple of each thing that I have to do. And it wouldn't be as helpful for me to have to explain what else I want you to do while I'm just doing one thing for a couple minutes. And the thing you would be doing would only take a couple minutes, so it would just be a lot of explaining and treating tasks. I just felt like I could just put the camera on and slowly do it with you guys. Aw, there's baby cucumbers on this one. Love that. One of my favorite parts of gardening is seeing the tiny baby vegetables. I don't get to see what the baby vegetables look like when you buy them from the store. I didn't know how Brussels sprouts or pineapples grew until I was basically an adult. Last year I pruned off a lot of the earlier cucumbers, but I don't feel like it made them any more productive than they would have been, because I pruned them to a single leader anyway, like I just explained a minute ago. So I'm not going to prune off any of the baby cucumbers or flowers. I'm just going to get to, hopefully, enjoy them as baby cucumbers, or as cucumbers. The sun is bright and warm. Jeez Louise. My eyes are very light sensitive. It's very unfortunate, to be honest. I don't know if you can tell in the camera angle, but the trellis gets taller and taller as it goes this way, so it's getting harder and harder for me to tie those at the top. Trim more of these broccoli leaves. It's still very shaded over here, and then maybe it would be more inclined to produce little broccolis, because this is a sprouting broccoli. It's not even supposed to be one single head, and I guess there's a possibility that I got it mixed up with varieties and tags. I think I'm just going to take it out. Because for the fall garden, I have to start broccolis and stuff inside in July, at the middle end of July. So I don't really need to be using up my summer garden space for something that I know there's a good chance will just flower once it starts to produce a head. So I'm just going to harvest all the leaves and then cut down the stuff. And my love bug really loves cucumbers. That'll give the cucumbers more space, so I'm happy with this. Broccoli leaves. But I'm also going to use this trellis for some of these tomatoes anyways. I needed the space. Do you guys do that? Do you feel like you have to rationalize your plans to yourself? It's your garden. Do what you want with it. But I'm like, I could do this, but then this, and what if this, and how about that? I can regrow a plant. Just do it. If it's a mistake later, oh well. It's just a plant. I think that is a little bit of an entitled way of thinking, because I do just have the availability to go to the grocery store and buy a head of broccoli if I want it. But when I'm only growing in such a small space, I have to make some sacrifices in order to thrive in other areas. I think I'm going to run out of string before I trellis everything that I wanted to. Uh-oh. I think my love bug has to go to Walmart tomorrow. I'll have him get some jute twine. These tomatoes are so big at this point. They're very daunting to try and trellis and not break them. But it needs to be done. That sucker leader has a sucker coming off of it. So we will take that off. Tassel. Oh, not tassel on the green stalk though. Next one that seriously needs done is another tomato. It's coming from... The next one that needs done is another tomato that's coming from this container here, but it's sitting right here in this container, so that needs some help. I think this is the last one I'll be able to do. That's sad, because this is not even close to all of the ones I wanted to do. Darn. It's okay though. I'll get more string. This one is a Roma tomato. I was considering this trash because I had to cut it to get stuff out of it, and it was already cut a little bit before I got it. I got it second hand. But I might have to not consider it trash and use it for that tomato. Would it work? Would it work? Because I could just open it and put it around it and put the limbs through there. I think I'm gonna try it. Might be a bad idea. I guess we'll find out. Definitely lost 3 Roma tomatoes. Sad. Oh. 4. Sadder. Okay. It was fairly difficult to put that Roma tomato in a cage. Generally speaking, like these tomatoes, the ones that are really tall, those are indeterminate varieties of tomato, meaning they will just keep growing and growing as long as they have enough nutrition to keep growing, whereas these Roma tomatoes are a determinate variety, meaning they're going to grow to a certain height and they're going to produce a bunch of tomatoes and then they're going to be done. So those ones I'm going to have to replace, which is why I put that janky tomato cage on them, because it's not going to be there very long anyway, and they needed something to trellis up on so that this container right here could be free, because I couldn't even see the mulch at all in that container before I came out here today. And there are, I don't know if you can see them, oh yeah you can, tiny cucumbers that look like just baby straws in that container because they were getting no sun. That's why that broccoli's coming out, etc. So after that, I think I'm going to finish removing that broccoli and then harvest some oregano. And I have enough string to put up one more cucumber that's already hung up. It's already hung up right here. So I'm going to put up one more cucumber and then I'll take you with me to harvest some oregano and cut down that broccoli. For this broccoli plant right here. Sorry, guy. I think I'm just going to leave the roots in there for now. So now at least the two cucumbers can get some sun. Even if it's not a lot. I have pretty sensitive skin and it's starting to get red and blotchy from touching all these fuzzy pokey plants, but I got things to do. I'll take a shower tonight. We're going to keep going. Let's go harvest some oregano. Alright. So here's the before, what this plant looks like. It's pretty bushy. So I'm just going to start on one side and start trapping. This might seem pretty drastic, but it will grow back perfectly fine. There's already so many little sprouts down at the base of where this plant was that I am not at all worried about it. And this is more than enough oregano for me to use for an entire year, so it's really not a problem. Oregano spreads like wildfire, at least in my experience. There is the after, almost nothing left. And we're about to do the same to this one. Wow, that's a pretty big difference. That's crazy. No way did I freaking just find in here, it wasn't like this. This is how I moved it so that I could re-find it. But I found a string that's not in use, and it's right near that spot where I was like, man, I just need like one more for some tomatoes. I found one. This is like a gift to myself that I didn't even know about. I'm so happy about this string of all things, but let's get a tomato strung up. Okay guys, I have done quite a few of the things that I wanted to do today. Not all of them, but I also started later than I wanted and don't have much time. So I did get one very full basket of oregano. This is all oregano. And one bigger, very full basket of mostly kale, and these stems closest are broccoli leaves. And there are just a couple things that I want to show you before I go inside. For one, just look how gorgeous this tree is. I mean, it's bad that it's that close to the house, but it is really pretty, and I don't own the house, so I guess that's not my problem. But really what I want to show you is these nasturtiums. These are orchid flame nasturtiums, and those are so gorgeous. I've been waiting for those to bloom. I have lots of zinnias about to bloom. I am unsure whether or not I want to harvest my garlic before I go on this trip. I'm going to be gone for 10 days, but my garlic is due to be done right around the time that I'm going to be gone, so I don't know yet. Here's another zinnia that's about to bloom. I'm so excited. Here's another shot of those nasturtiums, though. There's also sweet alyssum in there. That's so pretty. Okay, one of the main things I want to show you is I'm going to get as close to this plant as I can and give you a size comparison view because it's ridiculous. Here I am. I'm like 2 feet away from it. This is as close as I can get because I grow in containers, but oh my gosh, like it's not even, that's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. This sunflower, so here's my trellis, which is like 5'9". It's like right here is 6 feet up on top of this board, so 6 feet is about right here, and it's well beyond. That's almost 8 feet tall. I think these posts are 8 feet, so it is like 8 feet. What the heck? So this is not only the biggest sunflower I've ever grown, but the biggest thing I've ever grown, the biggest plant that I've ever produced ever, and I didn't even plant the seed for this. It's sad, but I still love it. It's a volunteer, so that makes me happy. Here are these sunflowers. I park my car over there in front of my house, and I can see the top of these sunflowers over this blue truck when I'm pulling out, so those are super cute. Look at those. Look at my little garden. This one has quite a few heads on it. This one's open. This one has a beetle. The sunflowers that I planted up near the road are blooming now. This one has a lot of blooms on it. Just like the sunflowers up by the road, I sprouted this one inside and transplanted it, but it is taller than me. Not by nearly as much as the other one. It's just slightly above my head, but it is taller than me. And it is really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to get out here early in the morning tomorrow before work and get all of my strawberries planted into the green stalk, and I will take you guys along for that, and I'll end the video for now until then. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Oh, but I did do this. I put bricks and rocks around these 3 sunflowers so that we don't mow them down. Now I'll see you in the morning. Bye. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the video. It is the next day, but it is not the morning. It is the evening. I got off work 45 minutes early because the person I work with is great. So it is currently 7:30. I usually get off work at 8. It's now 7:30, so I got home, put my dog outside, did some stuff. Now I'm out here to finish trellising up these tomatoes. I did work on it a little bit this morning. You can see right here that there are more strings than there were. Basically, all of these tomatoes I did this morning, as well as a couple more of these cucumbers. So the last one in this container right here, and the 2 in this very front container that were being covered by the broccoli and kale yesterday. So now the main thing that I need to finish doing is make sure that all of these tomatoes and also a tomatillo is trellised up with a string so that it doesn't break. Then I need to go back through and prune off any suckers from the tomatoes because I have let them overgrow. I was going through and just winding them around the trellis like this yesterday after I ended the video, and some of them were, not even exaggerating, 2 feet longer than the last time that they were wound around the string. Let me see if I can find an example for you guys. I think right here is the best example that I have. So the string is taut against the stem right there, and then pulls away from the stem, and the tomato is no longer wrapped around. So that means from here to this top growth point, I've not wrapped the tomato around the string. I've stopped right there. So it's grown at least a foot since I wrapped it around the trellis, which it has been much too long since I've wrapped it because I try to do it at least once a week. That's at least 2.5 weeks worth of me just letting it grow. So I gotta fix that. I say there's only a couple items left that I need to do, but realistically I have a lot of things that I need to do before I go on this trip. We are driving 25 hours across the country. We're going to Zion National Park, and that's gonna be great, but at the same time, I'm having to pay one of my friends. She didn't tell me I had to pay her. I feel bad not paying her, so I'm going to pay one of my friends to watch my leopard gecko and my dog. I bought gravity feed and waterers for my cat, and I have somebody who's going to come over and just give him some love because he's a very lovey kitty, and he will be very, very upset to not be around humans for 10 days. So realistically, I feel like the list of things I need to do in this garden is never ending, but such is life. So I, at the very least, want to get these plants to where they are not falling over and breaking themselves. So let's get the tomatoes trellised. I was looking through these tomatoes and using these pruners to cut off leaders that I don't want. And I found this. One stem. Oh, splits into 2. Oh no, splits into 3. Just kidding. Splits into 1, 2, 3, 4 different tomato stems, all at the same spot. This one here has a string on it, but none of the others do. So I'm trying to decide. This plant has 1, 2 leaders. And this is the leader that turns into 4 stems, and this leader splits off right here also. So I think I need to trim this plant back quite a bit. So right here is where that splits off into 4 stems. So one comes up this big one here, which is the other one that I think I'll keep if I keep one, because it's so thick. And I think I need to cut those other 2 off. So this might look sad, and it is sad for me, but it makes my plants grow better because Missouri is very humid, and tomatoes get blight easily in humid places. So we trellis them for more air, and we prune them so that they have more room and aren't trying to produce as much. So now I will get less individual fruits, but the fruits will be of better quality and probably larger just by trimming back the plants. This parsley plant is going to flower, and I almost cut it down, but then I saw this little guy. That is a swallowtail butterfly caterpillar, and they mostly eat dill, parsley, and milkweed. And I don't have dill, I only have parsley, and I think these guys are so pretty, and I have enough parsley, and it's flowering anyway, that I don't mind sharing. So I let these guys stay in my garden because they do turn into pollinators even though they eat some of my plants, but that's okay. You're welcome here, little guy. So pretty. Alright guys, it is getting much too dark for me to be out here trellising things. My camera adjusts for the light, so it probably looks a bit brighter in the camera than it actually is out here. It's pretty dusky outside. And if I were just doing things like around on the ground or something, I'd be able to see just fine. But within the plants, with all the shadows that the plants create, plus the darkness outside, it is currently just too dark for me to continue, which is sad because I trellised... Oh, there's a cat. There's a black cat. Okay. But it's sad because I trellised almost everything that I need to. All the cucumbers are up. All the tomatoes, but 2 leaders. There's only 2. Oh, my hands look black from the tomato stuff. I think I only have 2 tomato leaders left that need to be trellised, and then 2 tomatillo leaders. Is it normal to string trellis tomatillos? I don't think so. I've never seen other people do it, and it is a bit of a hassle because tomatillos get so big. But I'm trying it, and I just did a little bit of footage of that right before this, so I'll show you that over somewhere. I'll show you. My plants are obviously much bigger than people would usually let their plants get before they string trellis them up, but I ran out of string, and I always run out of time, so I do what I can. I did break a few tomatoes due to waiting so long because they're so tall and heavy that it's hard to wrap them around without putting pressure on any specific part. So if you wait too long like me, then that is a risk that you must be willing to try out, because that's what could happen. So it is getting dark. I have done quite a bit, and I think I am done in the garden for the night, but the new thing is that I can't leave the garden, especially if filming. Oh, a lightning bug. I used to call those fireflies when I lived in California, but since I've lived here, I call them lightning bugs, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. Strange. But the last thing that I always have to do now when I'm in the garden with you guys is show you this dang sunflower. Because I can't reach the top of it. I can only reach this leaf. And that's not even close to the top. Like, this thing is ridiculous. And I know I grow in containers, so obviously it's a good 25 inches up off of the ground already, but even if I took 25 inches off of the top of that, it's still over 7 feet tall. So definitely the biggest thing I've ever grown. Okay guys, since I have a lot going on this week, I'm gonna try to be filming quite a few videos, so the next few videos that you see might be close in date, but separated for when they get uploaded, because I am gonna be going on a trip, which I also will try and film some of for you guys, because I'm sure other people have never been to Zion either, like I haven't. Okay, I am increasingly getting less and less able to see my face in the camera, so I really appreciate you guys coming along in my garden with me. It's been a fun one. Thanks for doing all these piddly chores and giving me motivation to continue on, even though they are tedious. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.